What was it like to fight at the highest level and win? And what was it like to fight at the highest level and lose publicly in front of the people that you love, in front of thousands of screaming fans?
That's a great question. It's funny, for a minute there, I was like, fighting's behind me. I don't fucking want to talk about fighting. And it was a podcast with Peter Thiel where he's like, I really would love to talk to you about fighting though. And my audience has never heard me interview a fighter. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. But the question's great. And it's great because my mindset was kind of thinking about this very question. Going into it, I remember arguing with the guy. It wasn't a sure yes when I said yes to him. I had fought a lot growing up, and it was a lot of street fights. I ran more away from people to avoid the fight than I stood and fight. But every now and then I just stand my ground and fight. And I came out winning quite a few of the times without much training, just athleticism and aggression. But those were so in the moment, as opposed to, he's going to train for this fight. He's a professional. I'm going to train for this fight on a specific date in front of a gang of people. We're going to get in there and fucking go for it, right? That's a whole different ball game to say yes to. And it grew, it grew from like 200 people at a Indian reservation casino in fucking middle of nowhere outside of Phoenix. It's 100 degrees at night. The sun's setting, it's still 1:15, fighting out there, to, fighting in Mandalay Bay or, the Staples Center, and like I'm in the locker room, I'm walking out and they've got Elton John and Magic Johnson and all the greats that have ever been there. I'm like, holy shit, dude, I'm here, And I had some, it really was a story in my career with peaks and valleys. I had 2 fight of the night victories. I had a 26-second knockout at, I think it was at MGM or Mandalay Bay. That fight, I was a shoo-in for knockout of the night because I was the only knockout that night against Ricardo Romero. And then I'm watching the main event and it's Anderson Silva versus Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, right. Is that the front kick to the face?
He throws the motherfucking Steven Seagal kick right to his chin and he goes down like a ton of bricks. And I just watched 75 grand vanish right in front of my eyes. There were no other knockouts. It's like, I'm the guy. I'm going to fucking get this 75,000. Up until then, fight of the night bonuses were like 40 grand. It's like now it's 75 grand. It's a big difference. Almost like 2 bonuses. Shit. And I was like, I was just so mad. Anderson's a buddy too. He came on, homies with Big Nog. So when he was coaching me Ultimate Fighter, he came in. I got to know him for a couple of weeks and Lyoto Machida and all those guys. But to answer your question long-windedly, the thrill of victory, especially when you get a knockout, is greater than any feeling. Like if you hit a home run in American baseball, you're hitting with the sweet spot of the bat. Like the second you hit it, you're like, oh, that's got a chance. That's why you see guys just stop and stare and have a little swag, right? Because they know it's gone. There's a feeling like that when you punch through somebody or you knee them just in the right spot or you kick them in the right spot where it's just like walk-off home run. But it's so exponential because you've done that to another human who's trained and is as good as you and all the other things. So they have that level of dominance and it's a special feeling. It's an addictive feeling, like an absolutely addictive feeling. And, the battles that I've been in, like you win fight of the night, there's no early knockout there. That means you fucking went 15. Yeah, you're in an absolute battle. And I've had a few of those that were absolutely incredible. But my favorite fight of all time was actually a loss. It was the only time I fought across the pond. It was in Nottingham, England against Jimmy Manawan. Jimmy was just a freak show, like 6'1", jacked to the gills. I think he had, some insane bench press, but he was lightning fast too. So he wasn't just a big, strong guy. And highly technical on his feet. He had never been out of the first round. He had all first round knockouts. And that was his first fight in the UFC. And I'm just like, cool, man. Thanks for fucking just throwing me a goddamn wolves again, right? And the first round, I had all these plans and shit. And he beat the fuck out of me and he broke my left orbital, which is the second time that had been fractured. And he actually fractured my left eyebrow. And this thing swelled shut in the second round. But, between the first and the second round, while it was swelling, Bob Cook looks at me and he goes, fuck boxing, fuck kickboxing, fuck jujitsu, fuck wrestling. Put him on his back and beat the shit out of him. That's what you're going to do. Don't fucking think about it. Put him on his back and beat the shit out of him. That's what I did the whole second round with one eye. And they stopped it between the second and third round, rightfully so. I could only see out of one eye, My sister was making fun of me for that fight because she's watching on TV, and they're trying to pry it open and it's staying shut. And I'm like, and they're like, how many numbers? And I'm like, is it open? Is it open? I was like, no chance it was open. But so that loss was my favorite fight because it was the epitome of a fighter's heart and the warrior's spirit all in there. And it was exactly the thing I needed to hear from Bob, because I was overthinking everything, and some guys like Vanderlei Silva always came in with, I train to fight my fight. I don't give a fuck what that guy's good about, what he's good at. And I like that. Other guys, they watch a lot of film and they're like, we're going to be, they're highly technical in keeping the fight where we want it to be. Both camps are right, and in the opposite of that was me overvaluing what he was good at. It was the exact thing that Vanderlei was curing his brain against. I'm going to fight my fight. I don't give a shit what he's good at. And I was really, paying too much attention to like, oh, he's so good at this. He's so good at that. And I gotta work my way around it. And once that went out the window, it was cool, because then I actually was just fighting like an animal, and the technique was still there. It's not like I turned into a barroom brawler. Like I was taking him down appropriately and holding position and sinking elbows in. So that one's my favorite. But yeah, the wins and losses are hard, especially because of the price tag. When you lose in the UFC, that's 50% of your purse. So, there was only a point in time after the 2 fight of the nights where I actually could train full time for a very short period, like 6 months. And I thought, I've made it. We got a house I'm renting in Phoenix. I stay with friends when I go back to the Bay for camp. And that was so short-lived though, and then it was like, now I got personal training. I got to work at this titty bar. And that became the norm for such a long time. I didn't know that was going to change, and it never did. That was just what it was. So, but the losses were brutal, because I'm already not paid that enough, and then you get 50% of your purse cut. Like it's a big weight to carry.
Hello friends, if you enjoyed that clip, then you can watch the entire thing by heading to this link over here, or you can find us wherever you find podcasts by searching Radical Health Radio. If there's value here, please hit that like button, let us know in a comment what your biggest takeaway was, and hit subscribe. Support the show as we support you. We'll see you soon.